Hello everyone, welcome to IELTS Speed Up course offered by Thompson School. In today's lesson, we are going to focus on the next essay type that you may have in your IELTS writing task 2. So, we'll discuss advantages and disadvantages essays today. Of course, you probably remember from the previous lesson that you can differentiate the essay type from the question. So here you will be asked what are the advantages and disadvantages of something. Discuss both advantages and disadvantages of something. So by something I mean certain action or event. For example, let's say the essay is about studying abroad. And of course they may ask you what are the advantages and disadvantages of studying abroad, or discuss both advantages and disadvantages of studying abroad. Of course, sometimes instead of advantages or disadvantages, they may use less formal language, pros or cons. As you can see, pros means advantages or cons, disadvantages. At the same time, they may ask you the same question in a bit different way. What are the benefits and drawbacks of studying abroad, for example? So the logic is still the same. In this essay, you should discuss positives and negatives of certain event or action. As you can see here, IELTS advantages and disadvantages questions normally give you a statement and ask you to comment on the advantages and disadvantages of that statement. So positives, advantages, negatives, disadvantages. Okay, so the problem is that there are three different types of advantages and disadvantages essay, and they each require a little bit different approach. And of course, if you answer them in a bit different way, then you will probably lose lots of easy points. Okay, this lesson will look at each of the three question types and suggest a standard sentence by sentence structure for each of them. Okay, of course, we will also discuss samples and write one together. Okay guys, now we are going to go through each question type and of course discuss corresponding structure. First of all, I'm going to go through three different questions and then we will discuss their difference. Okay, question number 1. In some countries, young people are encouraged to work or travel for a year between finishing high school and starting university studies. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages for young people who decided to do this. Okay? Question number 2. Some experts believe that it is better for children to begin learning a foreign language at primary schools rather than secondary school. Do the advantages of this outweigh the disadvantages? Question number 3. Computers are becoming an essential part of school lessons. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages and give your own opinion. Now, as you can see in the question number 1, you are simply asked to discuss the advantages and disadvantages. In this question, you're not asked for your opinion, or you're not asked which side is better or worse. So it is always better if you do not include this information in your answer. So it means you will choose the simplest structure. Okay, one paragraph is going to be dedicated to the advantages and the other one is going to be dedicated to disadvantages. Okay, question number 2 is slightly different because here you have to say if the advantages are stronger than disadvantages. Notice, I didn't say if there are more advantages than disadvantages. The question is not asking you to talk about numbers, but comment on the overall weight of the advantages or disadvantages. Let's consider this example here. There are a huge number of advantages of traveling by private jet, but there is one huge disadvantage. Okay, this is the cost. And exactly this cost stops most people from flying that way, and therefore the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. Okay, in this example we'll have to decide which side, okay, advantages or disadvantages, okay, is stronger, and this will affect our structure. For example, if you choose advantages, then you will have to say why these are much stronger than the disadvantages and why the disadvantages do not hold much weight. You would also have to make this clear in your thesis statement. It means you should already come up with clear structure and idea before you start writing. And question number 3 is different again, because it is more like an opinion essay and a discussion essay at the same time. Your structure will reflect this by having a paragraph for advantages and disadvantages, but also having a clear position on the statement. So you should clarify your position in your thesis statement as well as in body paragraph. Now we are going to talk about structures in a more detailed way. So, structure for essay number 1. Of course, you probably remember the main structure, so introduction, body paragraphs, and then conclusion. We will start from introduction, and first sentence is going to be your paraphrased question. So in the next sentence, you should write an outline. So remember, you're not asked for your opinion. So that's the reason why you don't have to include a thesis statement. Now, when it comes to main body, you will start from supporting paragraph number 1, advantages. So you will fully dedicate this paragraph to advantages. Sentence number 3, topic sentence. Generally, you should point out the first advantage. And of course, in the next sentence, sentence number 4, you should explain how this is an advantage, why. And of course, you should come up with proper example. And this is going to be your first body paragraph, and we will move to the next supporting paragraph that is going to be dedicated to the disadvantages. In sentence number 6, you're going to start with a topic sentence, so disadvantage number 1, and of course in the following sentence you will explain how this is a disadvantage, and of course you should come up with an example. And the last paragraph is going to be your conclusion, where you should sum up main points. Okay, I hope this was clear to you guys. And structure for essay number 2. Okay, introduction, first sentence, again, paraphrased question, then thesis statement in your second sentence. State which side is stronger. Okay, you can say the advantages of studying abroad significantly outweigh the disadvantages, for example. And of course, sentence number 3 is going to be an outline. Okay, now moving to the main body. First paragraph is going to be dedicated to a stronger side. You will start from topic sentence, then explain why it is strong. So you should point out one idea and discuss it. Okay, discuss it in a way that will clearly explain the reader why you think this side is stronger. And of course, you should exemplify your idea. In the sentence number 7, you will write a topic sentence, then explain why it is strong, and of course, you will come up with an example. And in paragraph number 2, which is going to be dedicated to a weaker side, you should start from topic sentence, explain why it is not strong, and then write an example. And of course, the last paragraph is going to be your conclusion, sentence number 13, where you should sum up the main points, the main ideas, and restate your opinion. In other words, you should sum up the main points and paraphrase your thesis statement. And finally, when it comes to the essay number 3, where you are also asked for your opinion, you should have the following structure. First, introduction, so simply paraphrase the question, then in the second sentence you should write a thesis statement, clearly stating your opinion. And in the sentence number 3, you're going to write an outline. And in your main body, paragraph number 1, you will discuss advantages of certain action or event. So you will simply start with topic sentence, then explain it, and then exemplify. And in the next paragraph, you are going to discuss the disadvantages, okay, topic sentence, then explanation, and proper example. And you will have your third paragraph in your main body, which is going to be dedicated to your opinion. First, you should explain your opinion and explain or give an example. So you should try to explain your opinion in a general way and then either come up with an example or try to explain it in a more detailed way. And of course, in the last sentence, you will sum up your main points. Now, guys, we are going to consider a sample answer for each question. Now, question number 1. In some countries, young people are encouraged to work or travel for a year between finishing high school and starting university studies. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages for young people who decided to do this. If you remember, this was the simplest question and you're not asked for your opinion. So, let's read our introduction here. Before embarking on college, many young people are advised that a year working or traveling may be a good option. So, this is paraphrased question. Now, we are going to read an outline and you're not required to write a thesis statement because you're not asked for your opinion. Remember. Okay, this essay will suggest that saving money is the biggest advantage of this and a reduced motivation to study is the primary disadvantage. So we are pointing out what is the main advantage and what is the main disadvantage. Okay, now moving to the body paragraphs, and if you remember, I told you that you should dedicate your first paragraph to the advantages. Okay? Third level education is very expensive and lots of students decide to work for 12 months and save up money before they begin their studies. So this is your general sentence, topic sentence, where you're pointing out your idea. So as you can see, it says that third level education, higher education or further education, okay, you can use this phrases when you're talking about university degree, okay, is very expensive. Okay, this is the main point, and many students, lots of students, decide to work for a year or 12 months, as you can see here, and save up money. Okay, now we should explain why they do so. This allows them to pay for their living costs, tuition fees, and accommodation, and focus on their studies rather than struggle financially or have to get a part-time job on top of their academic work. So, what is the main reason? Because they want to cover their expenses. They want to pay for their living costs, for the food they are eating, clothes, tuition fees for their education, and of course accommodation, place where they live, and prefer focusing on their education rather than struggling or having some financial difficulties. So, okay, this is an example here, guys. The Times recently reported that the average student at a UK university requires over $12,000 per annum just to survive, and many drop out because they cannot afford to stay. So I think this is very relevant and nice example here because it says how much money students need in average. And remember, this is a number that you can easily come up with, but try to be more realistic. So in average, a UK university student needs $12,000 in a year just to survive. And as you can see, many drop out because they cannot afford to stay. Okay, now we will talk about the disadvantages. Despite these advantages, many students often get used to working or traveling and do not want to return to a life of study after a year off. Okay, this is the main point. So they lose their interest to higher education. This short-term view can cause some to bypass university altogether and go straight into a job that is beneath their capabilities or may not offer the same prospects their future career might have done. Okay, this is the explanation. They may bypass university, skip it, and go and work. So by this, they may somehow ruin their future. And of course, they will not have the same career prospects they would have if they had accomplished higher education. For instance, a recent survey by the British government found that 26% of students who take a gap year never enter tertiary education. So this is very nice and relevant example again because it shows statistics, numbers. Okay, almost a quarter of students that actually take a gap year never continue their higher education. Okay, in conclusion, taking a break from studies can be advantageous if it allows people to gather up savings. However, they should also be careful that it doesn't lead to disillusionment with education altogether. Okay, we are summing up the main points. It is good if they decide to save some money, but bad if they lose their interest. Okay, as you can see, we have 252 words and very nice example here. I do recommend you to go each word that is difficult for you, and of course it will be very useful for your vocabulary. And I do recommend you to remember these points and ideas because you may also use them in your writings. Now let's consider question number 2. Some experts believe that it is better for children to begin learning a foreign language at primary schools rather than secondary school. Do the advantages of this outweigh the disadvantages? Okay, here you are asked to mention which side is stronger. So first we will start from paraphrased question. Okay, some authorities think that it is more favorable for pupils to begin studying languages at primary school instead of secondary school. Now we are going to write a thesis statement. This essay will argue that the advantages of this outweigh the drawbacks. Okay, as you can see, we are clearly stating that we are going to argue that advantages outweigh the disadvantages. The essay will first demonstrate that the earlier someone learns an additional language, the more likely they are to master it, and that it brings added cognitive benefits, followed by an analysis of how the primary disadvantage, namely confusion with their native tongue, is not valid. So, very clear and detailed explanation of your essay structure. Okay? Now, body paragraph number 2. We should start from topic sentence, then explain it and exemplify. You remember this structure. The main reason to start kids off with foreign languages early is that this increases the likelihood they will achieve fluency in adulthood. So the main idea of starting learning certain language at primary school is achieving a fluency in adulthood. So if you start learning certain language at earlier age, so you will master it better. That is to say that they will have far more years to perfect their skills, and it will seem perfectly normal to speak bilingually. So this is the explanation. How? They will have more time. For example, in countries such as Holland or Norway, where English is taught from a very young age, more than 95% of adults speak it at an advanced level. Learning a second language also helps to improve overall cognitive abilities. This is your second point. In other words, it benefits the overall development of a child's brain. A recent survey by Cambridge University found that children who studied a new language before the age of 5 were significantly more likely to score higher in mathematics and science. Now we are going to talk about the disadvantage. Those opposed to this say that it causes the child to become confused between their mother tongue and the other language. So this is our topic sentence, and now we should explain why this point is weaker. However, there is actually no evidence to support this view, and children from bilingual families do just as well in both languages. My own son was brought up speaking both Vietnamese and English and outperforms most of his classmates in both. Okay? But of course, for students who do not have families or children, okay, they may exclude this sentence here. Okay, our conclusion: on balance, the fact that early foreign language learning leads to higher fluency and improved brain function clearly outweighs the flawed argument that it impairs uptake of native language. We are restating our opinion. Okay, guys? I hope this sample answer was clear to you. And here is the sample answer to question number 3, guys. Computers are becoming an essential part of education. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages and give your own opinion. So we'll start from paraphrasing the question, guys. Information technology is becoming a ubiquitous part of learning. Ubiquitous means appearing or being present everywhere. This essay will show that this is a welcome development and can enhance educational practice. So this is your thesis statement, guys. Okay, this is a welcome development, so it means positive and can enhance, increase educational practice, so make it better. It will first suggest that the instant availability of huge amounts of information is the primary advantage, followed by a discussion of how it can sometimes lead to plagiarism. So plagiarism is copying someone's work, guys. Now, topic sentence. The main benefit computers bring to learners is easy access to vast amounts resources. Learners were once limited to the books they had and the knowledge of their teacher. Now they can learn about anything they choose at the touch of a button. So this is the explanation, guys. Okay, now they have unlimited access to any type of information at a single click of a button. Google is a prime example because it allows people to easily search for whatever they are looking for quickly and accurately. One possible drawback is that using the internet to complete academic work can sometimes lead to pupils copying articles from the internet. This is the main drawback, guys. So, topic sentence, and now we have to explain this point. As a result, students do not have to think about their tasks and learn very little. Okay, this is why plagiarism is negative. The Sunday Times recently reported that 72% of college graduates in the UK admitted to copying and pasting Wikipedia articles at least once. Oh, we do it all the time. Now, our opinion. Overall, it is a very positive development because most students will take advantage of the power of the information superhighway to enhance their studies, rather than using it to cheat. For example, in 2005, Cambridge University found that students who regularly used a computer were 26% more likely to get a first-class degree than those who did not. Okay? This is the main point that student has. Actually, this is the opinion. And of course, this is relevant example here. In conclusion, the web has provided a gateway to knowledge unlike anything seen before, and although it can sometimes lead to a few taking the easy road and plagiarizing, it is a very positive step in the evolution of education. Now we are restating our opinion. Okay, guys, this is the end of our lesson, and you will receive your homeworks, and do not forget to submit them. I hope everything was clear to you. See you next time.